Hi guys, Natural Progressive. So I was just recently, this morning, I was on Pill Media, and I wanted first of all to thank everybody that showed up, that heard about it on my channel or on Mana Talk last night when I was on that stream. That's makes me feel really good. I know they had a pretty good amount of live viewers, more than they usually have, so that was pretty cool. Really appreciate it. That could have been Peter Douche. Um, Pat Cody and the possibility of Nomiki Kantz coming on, but she didn't make it. So that was kind of sad. I really wanted to ask her questions. Anyway, I wanted to put an exclamation point on one of the topics when they were discussing Nomiki Kantz and her election bid for New York advocate. Um, not super familiar with what that all entails, but she was on a couple of appearances discussing the 70% tax rate that Ocasio-Cortez brought up in some of her interviews. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure I got the point driven across that people don't buy things just to buy things, and corporations don't hire just to hire. So, what actually drives jobs is to increase the amount of money in the pockets of the working people because they will spend it. They're not going to just slap it in a bank. What they're going to do is buy things they actually need. And trickle up works really well. Trickle down does not work at all. So giving tax breaks to the wealthy is just in corporations is not creating more jobs. It's corporate welfare. They're not paying taxes to utilize the infrastructure that they use, to utilize the education system that is needed to develop the employees that they hire. And if you give them the tax breaks, they're not going to hire any more people. They're what's going to drive them needing employees is actually giving workers more money, because when workers have more money, they spend money, and they're spending money on the goods and services that the corporations and businesses have to offer. That's what drives jobs, not extra money in the wealthy's pockets. All they do is do stock buybacks or raise the income of the executives. They get all kinds of golden parachutes. Where is our parachute as a working person? We don't have one. We don't have one. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, barely surviving. We're the ones that need the tax break. We shouldn't have the burden of funding our infrastructure, our schools, everything. We're paying for that. In fact, we're paying for a lot of the benefits the corporations get. I mean, look at New York and a helicopter pad. A helicopter pad they're buying for Amazon. And we just got Amazon here. They got a huge tax break to bring Amazon warehouse here. Is that really helping? If they bring in, and yeah, Bernie Sanders pushed them to pay $15 an hour. $15 an hour, that's great. But those people making $15 an hour are going to be working in prison like conditions. I've worked in a warehouse like that. I know how it is. Ridiculous production standards, constantly being called into the office for not meeting production because they make those production standards so ridiculous you can't meet them. And you don't even go. I worked for 1 year at Walmart distribution center, and the production standards were so high, you were afraid to go to the restroom. So I went 10 hours without even going to the restroom once. You learn to hold it. And that's not fun. Okay. That's the kind of people you're putting the money into. Like you're giving them the tax breaks instead of the hard ass working people. The workers. Come on. Maybe I'm up in the night. But anyway, on one of my last videos, I had a comment because I called it corporate socialism. And that's not entirely accurate, because if it was, that implies that the corporations are actually contributing to the community, because that's what socialism is. and they're not. So it's corporate welfare, very much more accurate to describe what's going on. They are getting all kinds of huge tax breaks. They're not helping. They're not contributing. They're just taking. They're taking what they can get from the labor force. They're taking what they can get from cities and towns who just want to bring in jobs. They're taking everything they can get from the federal government, taking advantage of every little tax loophole. So they're paying way less, even though they have way more. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I think every individual needs to pay their fair share. But right now, the working class is paying the greater share. So, on that note, I was also on a stream last night with Mana Talk and others, Red Economics, and trying to remember there was Chad and Robert. There's a few people on there. Great talk, great talk. Um, and it was about Ventura running, and I'm all for Ventura running. I think he should, just in case there isn't a progressive that comes through the primary in the Democratic Party, and even if it's almost progressive, I think I would rather vote for Ventura, but uh, he's not perfect. He is he is somebody that I would definitely vote for if he's on my ballot, and especially to get the Green Party to be recognized in the polling. And I think James had a good point. I think he said if you're called to do a poll, just say you're voting for Green, even if you're not, just because that may elevate the Green Party enough to be involved in debates. And we really need as many people as possible talking on the progressive talking points and getting those points across. I just think the more mainstream that becomes, I know mainstream is a bad word, but in this case, making progressive viewpoints mainstream and educating the public is really important and really a good idea. And the more people we have talking those points, it's going to push people more to the left. But yeah, if you get polled, just tell them you're going to vote for Ventura, unless you have someone you're really wanting in the in the Democratic Party. If it's Bernie or whatever. Anyway, I'm still formulating my whole opinion on all this. I'm kind of working through it and evolving how to think about the 2020 election. So I don't have everything put together. I'm reconciling everything. I don't have any answers. I'm not going to just jump on board like I did with Bernie Sanders 100% because I'm not sure that whoever I want is going to be cheated or not. So I just want to focus on issues, and we'll worry about the 2020 candidate when it gets closer, I suppose. I don't think whoever we get in is going to do any good until the people actually have more power against our so-called representatives. And that's the thing that we're going to be focusing on, how we can do that um, in future videos. So stay tuned, and I will